You're locked into You're locked into Hits 92.3. The views, stories, and opinions shared on this program belong solely to the host and their guests. They do not represent the views of Hits 92.3 Radio, management, staff, partners, advertisers, parent companies, or affiliates. And if you don't know what any of that means, listener discretion is advised. Now sit back, turn up your volumes, and enjoy the content from one of the greatest, dopest radio personalities to ever touch this microphone in 3, 2, 1.
Yes. I'm so happy to be with y'all right now. It's been a good day. Let me try to see if I can see myself on the screen here. There I is, still hood and beautiful. Yes, you are listening to the King Raphael Show, where elevation is the expectation. Y'all, I got one for y'all. I literally just flew in time from Miami. So, man, it came to me last night what I wanted to talk about, that life is an airport. Are you ready to take off? Are you? I don't know. We're going to talk about it. Are you ready to take off? So y'all, when I tell you this episode like literally just came to me last night, like when I was asleep, like I didn't know what I was going to talk about. And basically, I prayed before I went to bed, and 10 minutes later, I didn't even get to sleep. And then I woke up and it was on my heart just like that. So it's amazing sometimes when you talk to God, you get a certain clarity, right? You get a certain level of clarity. He will do it, y'all. I promise you, he will just bring it to you. So we're gonna talk about this because everybody wants to do new destination in life. Everybody, but very few people are actually preparing for the flight. So have you ever noticed that nobody goes to the airport just to stay there? Nobody buys a ticket just to sit at gate 23 forever, right? The airport was never the destination. It never was. So they are stuck in terminal of comfort, stuck in the waiting room of fear, stuck watching other people board the flights and wondering when they're going to be called. Tonight, we're going to talk about why some people never take off in this life. Some dreams never leave the runway. Why some people miss their God ordained destination. And you know what? It's the very thing that's holding you down, maybe your baggage that you've been carrying for all these years, that Delta Airlines want to charge you money for. Maybe not Delta, they really good at that. But y'all know them budget airlines, they're going to charge you for overweight bags. And if you even bring a bag, they want to charge you, right? But it's been holding you down for years. And sometimes we need to release some of those things. So we're really going to get into it. We're going to talk about it, y'all. Life is an airport, but are you truly ready to take off in this life? I'm going to talk to you about some things that's going to touch your soul. Okay. So before anybody can board a flight, what's one of the things you need before you can get on? You need your identification, right? You need your driver's license or that passport, not necessarily the money, not necessarily that, but you need to know or have your identity because they need to know who you are. The airport don't care about how much money you got. They care about who you are. You see, many people are struggling because they don't know who they are. The enemy's first attack was always identity. Now, if you go all the way back biblically, Satan attacked Jesus. When he did, he questioned his identity. You know how he did it? He said, if thou be the son of God, turn this turn this stone into bread, right? That's exactly what he said. You can find that in Matthew chapter 4, verse 3. Now, notice he didn't attack Jesus' power. What he did was attack Jesus's identity. Because you see, that's how the devil moves. He's real slick, and he understands that if he can confuse your identity, then it can control your destination. You see, many of us are very powerful, beyond our measure, but we don't know who we are. A lot of times we don't know because whose we are. And we give the devil way too much power than he deserves. You see, he can't block your power. He can't block your blessings. But I promise you this, he can delay you. He can distract you. He can make you think that you're somebody else who you never were. Right? So that's why we coming at it like this, y'all. You got to remember Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. It says, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou comest out of the womb, I sanctified thee and ordained thee a prophet unto all the nations. All of them. Now, what is that saying? That means that God knew your identity before your mother knew your name. Now, that's powerful. We got to understand this, y'all. This is why we got to let some of our baggage go. This is where many people miss their flight, y'all, because you can only carry so much on the plane anyway. And airlines always tell you to check your bags, right? And leave unnecessary weight behind. Now, think about your life. Do we do that in this life? Yet we walk through this life, we carry old relationships. We carry bags of childhood trauma. We carry bags of betrayal. We carry bags of bitterness. We carry bags of anxiety. We carry bags of depression. We carry bags of regret. We carry bags of fear. We carry bags of unforgiveness. And a lot of times, we don't forgive ourselves. And we carry that baggage. And you know what those type of bags do in your life? Creates tumors, creates cancers, creates toxins within the body that if you never release, it will cause to your dis-ease and a shortened lifespan. That's why you got to check some things. That's why everything can't go with you on your next destination. Are you ready to fly? You see? People carry all these bags and then wonder why they can't elevate. And the reason why some people can't elevate, because they're carrying too much baggage that they should have checked years ago. You understand, the higher that you go or the higher that your airplane goes, when you check your baggage and leave it behind, the lighter it becomes. The same is true in your life, y'all. Y'all understand this? Even the Bible talks about let us lay aside the weight. We got to let it go. Not necessarily sin. And I'm not telling you to hold on that. You got to let go of that as well. But I'm saying that the bags are heavy, y'all. It's just weight that we got to let go of. It's some things that we got to change. You see, everything you're carrying is not meant to go with you. And it can't go with you. Some people can't go with you. Some habits can't go with you. Y'all get where I'm going with this? When you're at the airport, one of the first things you encounter after you done went through the gate and they done checked your bags in and all that good stuff, who do you have to encounter next? TSA. Good old TSA. I don't know why nobody likes this process. Nobody likes TSA, right? We get tired of taking off our shoes, taking off our belts, doing all of these things. You got to inspect this, inspect everything. And then you be waiting at that conveyor belt and you be almost dang near praying, please don't send my bag to the side for additional check. I got to go. Please don't send my bag over, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But see, TSA exists for your protection. Likewise, God will inspect the areas in your life before elevation. Oh, think about that. Just the way TSA is checking for things, God is checking for things before you elevate. Because before promotion comes examination. Before a blessing comes a testing. Before the flight comes a security clearance, right? So God often removes things from your life before he adds things to your life. And this is a principle. You see, before God adds, he subtracts. I don't know why God does that, but he just does. So before you can get the greater, you must remove the lesser. You must make room. And there's a picture that I really love. There's an illustration where there's a little girl, right? And she's holding on to this little teddy bear. And Jesus has this huge teddy bear behind his back. But all she has to do is release that teddy bear. But she's like, "But Jesus, I love it. I love it so much. I don't want to let it go." Not realizing that he got something bigger and greater for you. See, a lot of times we can't let go of what we already have. And the second we do, that's when something greater comes along. But you got to be in position and you have to be prepared for it. You have to be prepared, okay? So let's get into this, y'all. You're listening to the King Raphael Show. We're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the delays in your life. We're going to talk about everything that happens at the airport and how it is in your life. You're watching the King Raphael Show. Elevation is the expectation. Hi, I'm Professor G, the Airbnb King. When I first started my Airbnb business in 2019, I made a lot of mistakes. I really needed a mentor, but one mistake I didn't make was giving up. And since I didn't give up, 18 months later, I cleared my first six-figure income, which allowed me to quit my lucrative job as being a college professor at Spelman College and do this full time, and I never looked back. Since then, I've acquired properties in Atlanta, such as downtown, Midtown, Buckhead, even moved over to the West End, became the Airbnb King, got more confidence, started buying properties in Miami. Ever since then, I knew skies was the limit and Monopoly was the game for me. So believe in yourself. You will and you can win at this game. Book with the Airbnb King. We're going to make some silent moves, but loud results.
Hey, the secret's out. Hits 92.3 is now accepting submissions for brand new shows. That's right, you could become a radio personality right here on Hits 92.3, the real definition of internet radio. You don't have experience? That's okay. You don't live in Georgia? That's okay. You don't know what to do now? Now that's not okay. But your girl is here to help you out. Email us today at hits923newshow@gmail.com and tell us about your potential show with Hits. Again, that email address is hits923newshow@gmail.com. Don't be last. The slots are filling fast.
Hey, hit me up at the King Raphael Show at gmail.com. Send me your emails, communicate with me if you want to join the academy. That's the King Raphael Show at gmail.com. Also, you can check out the new website at kingraphaelshow.com, where you can listen to all the episodes that we've been streaming here at 92.3. We've been doing the thing. All right. Now, I want you to look at life. You are an airplane. As you in an airplane on the runway of life. And as you're moving down the runway of life, what's one of the things that you're up against as you move 100 miles per hour in this life, as you begin to move 200 miles per hour, as you start to reach 300 miles per hour? What's hitting you? That wind is resistance. Right before you take off, you're getting the most resistance, y'all. So what I'm trying to tell you is, in this life, expect resistance. Respect an opposite force to come against you when you are about to take off in life. So expect it to be natural. But some of us, when we're taking off in this life, we don't even let our haters be our motivators. We let them be our anchors, right? Right? That's what we do. So y'all remember, when you're taking off in this life, y'all, when you get higher and higher, you're going to receive more turbulence. You're going to receive more resistance against you. And these are people comments saying what you can't do. And these are people saying, oh, look at them. They think they better than us, right? Trying to leave us on here on the ground as they take off. Where you think you're going? You're going to come back down, right? So Keep taking off, keep flying higher. You're going to receive more resistance, more turbulence. But guess what? Once you get to a certain altitude, then things get smooth, right? See, turbulence is not necessarily a bad thing because guess what? Turbulence only happens in the air. So when turbulence happens, it means that you have taken off in this life. It means that you are going somewhere in this life before you reach smooth sailings, right? And a lot of times we got to know who you are, your identity. So that's why you got to understand it's not your aptitude. Sometimes it's your attitude that holds us down to the ground. That's that baggage that you need to let go of, that attitude baggage sometimes, which changes your mindset. But see, you got to understand again, turbulence is not a bad thing because something amazing happens when that happens. You know what happens? When you're on the plane and you the passenger, when you feel turbulence, do you run into the cockpit? Mm-mm. You don't go in there and grab the controls. Do you like, hold on, this ride is a little shaky, right? You don't try to fly the plane yourself, do you? You stay seated. Why? Because the pilot has access to information that you don't have. You see, the pilot understands the weather patterns that are going on that you might not be aware of. The pilot is communicating with the tower. The pilot can see beyond the passenger's perspective. The same is true with God. Sometimes in your life, when turbulence hits, you may lose the job, you may lose a relationship, your money gets tight, a diagnosis comes in, your business may slow down, and immediately we start panicking, right? But God is saying, remain seated. I still have control. I can see what you can't see. I know what you're talking about, right? So when you get on an airplane, faith isn't believing that there won't be any turbulence. Faith is believing the pilot knows how to navigate through it. The same is true with God. Faith isn't believing that you'll never have any problems. Faith is believing that God will guide you through all the problems that you will have. That's faith. That's what Hebrews 11:1 was talking about. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Not seen, just like that pilot. You don't see him, do you? But you trust him. You don't see God, but you got to trust him. And every sunrise is your evidence. You trust that the sun is coming up in the morning. That's God. Every blessing is evidence. Every closed door that protected you is evidence. Every storm you survived is evidence. Every prayer answered is evidence. You see, this is what I want to talk to you about tonight. This is what came to me when I was laying down. If you can, because I had to take a flight the next day. If you can trust a pilot that you have never met to fly you across this ocean, why can't you trust God, who has carried you through every single storm that you have already survived? You see, the pilot gets you to a destination, but God gets you to a destiny. Did y'all hear me? A pilot will get you to a destination, but God will get you to your destiny. That's real. That's big facts, y'all. And the beautiful thing about this is we know a pilot is human, right? He can make mistakes, but the pilot of your life, who is God, never makes mistakes. He's always on point, just like a cactus. Please believe it, please. Now, one of the things at the airport when you're traveling that you may have to encounter, trust me, I've encountered plenty of layovers, right? But see, layovers equal a season of waiting. Now, I get it. Nobody likes layovers. I don't like them, especially those long ones, right? Where you just getting started and you sitting there, but you're not where you're going. See, many people are in a spiritual layover. The old season ended, the new one hasn't begun, and you between destinations, right? Just like the Israelites when they were leaving Israel, right? When they were leaving Egypt, they left Egypt and they weren't slaves anymore, but they were wandering through the wilderness and they still haven't made it to the promised land. It's just like a layover, right? So don't quit during your layover. Your next flight is already scheduled. But see, God is not on your time, He's on His divine time. The wait upon the Lord will renew your strength, just like it did theirs. And it weeded some things and some people out who wasn't supposed to be there to the promised land anyway. So you got to remember, you got to have faith in God because He is the pilot that you can't see. So you've noticed something interesting about flying. Before you fly a plane and before it takes off, y'all, we don't communicate with the pilot. We don't say nothing to the pilot. But guess what? The pilot of our life, we can. We can communicate. We can talk to him. We can ask him to take us to higher heights. We can even select our destiny. And if it's in his will, he will get you there. Right? Don't that make sense? So we got to understand, y'all, that the pilot of our life will give us layovers. And the layovers are not to hurt us, it's to prepare us. Because sometimes we are just not ready. Sometimes the layovers are to protect us. The delay is not denial. Y'all get that? A delay is not denial. Just because God says not right now doesn't mean that He does not have something for you. Your destination is already set and prepared for you. But sometimes you have to go through some things in this life. Sometimes you have to, understand that you are being prepared for something greater. You are being prepared for a higher altitude in this life. That's why you got to let go of some of that baggage first. Delays equal God's preparation. You see, one of the most frustrating things is when we have to sit and be delayed. See, flights flights being delayed when you're sitting there doesn't mean you're not going, does it? It does not mean you're not going. You going. It's just going to take a little longer to get there. It just means you're not leaving yet. And many of God's greatest servants have experienced delays before departure. Let me give you a few. Joseph had a delay. Didn't he go to prison? Right? Joseph received a dream as a teenager, and the destination didn't happen immediately. First, his brothers betrayed him. Then he was sold into slavery. Then he was falsely accused. Then he was in prison. Imagine how he felt sitting there forgotten by the people he helped. Now, imagine how many times Joseph could have said, God, what happened to the dream when my brothers was bound down in front of me? What happened to all of that stuff? Yet the delay was preparing him for his leadership. You see, God will often develop your character before he releases your calling. Because your gift can open up doors, but only your character can keep you there. Y'all caught that? Your gifts will definitely open up doors for you, but it's your character and it's your integrity that will keep you there. And sometimes the proof and the test of your character and your integrity is when people mistreat you, when people do you wrong, right? You see, the Bible says you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good because it's a test. And a lot of tests that we go through in this life are not God. It's not that God needs to see. God already knows what you're going to do. The test is for you. You need to see what you're going to do. You need to see if you're going to pass the test. You need to figure out your character. That's what the test is for. It's not for God, it's for you. To prove to yourself who you are, to show thyself worthy before he takes you to that elevated destination. You're being tested for a reason. It's for preparation. You're being delayed for a reason. It's to get you there. So when you get there, you're ready. David, King David, he had a delay too. Now, what was his delay? Let's talk about it. Now, David was anointed even while Saul was king. While he was sitting on the throne, God had already spoke to him and told him he was going to be king. Now, imagine that. But yet, it didn't happen immediately. Years had passed before the promise arrived. David went from a shepherd boy to a giant killer. He was definitely a slayer. He went from running in the caves to being chosen by God, right? to be elevated and exalted in royal rooms. Now, just because God announces your future doesn't mean that you're going to see it tomorrow. I know many of us be praying on our knees, wondering, God, when is the storm going to be over? God, you told me I was anointed. You told me I was ordained by you and you had great things for me. When will I see it? But see, all of these people went through delays as well, but they were being prepared. That's why that gospel song says, wait on the Lord, right? That's why the Bible says, wait on the Lord and be of good courage, right? If you can just wait, if you can just hold on just a little bit longer, a change is coming. Wait for your season. Everything is in due season. That's why fruit don't grow in the wintertime. It only grows in its season. Flowers only blossom in their season. They have to wait. And I'm telling you today that the delay is okay. Okay? Y'all get it? You know who else was delayed? I'm going to say it because y'all know about this one. Moses. Moses had a big delay. How many years was he in the wilderness? 40 years. See, Moses knew he was called, but he tried to accomplish God's mission in his own way, which caused even a further delay. You see, after killing an Egyptian, Moses fled right to the desert, and then he spent 40 years tending sheep. Now, can you imagine being called, but you spending 40 years tending over sheep? He thought his life was over, but Moses wasn't forgotten about. He was just being prepared. You see, sometimes God removes you from the spotlight because remember, he was a prince in Egypt. He was the prince of Egypt, one of the princes. And he was removed from the spotlight so that he can be developed in private. Sometimes God has to remove you publicly and develop you privately. And then the gifts will show publicly. Then your fruit will show publicly. And remember, a tree that bears fruit will never bring you its fruit. People will come to the tree for the fruit. This is why your gifts will make room for you and put you in room for great men. Great men will seek you. Just like how people came to King Solomon, seeking his wisdom and his knowledge and his great understanding, y'all. Y'all get where I'm going with this? So a lot of times we got to be in isolation. Sometimes we have to be in the wilderness. The wilderness isn't where dreams die. The wilderness is where leaders are built. All right, I see you. Take control. I think that's Crystal. Thank you so much for the love. I see you over there. But listen, y'all, we're going to take a commercial break. And when I come back, we're going to talk about this traveler who almost missed his flight. I got to tell you about this one. You're watching the King Raphael Show. Elevation is the expectation. Hey, have you ever been at work on a Monday morning behind your desk wondering, what am I doing with my life? Well, I wanted that same question as well. So what I did was I created a business around the lifestyle that I truly wanted. And for me, that's really about travel. So I wanted to make the beach my office, and that's exactly what I did. I can work from anywhere around the world with my customizable Airbnb business. So let me show you how to do it for yourself. So let me help you create an Airbnb business that will sustain you for the rest of your life and sustain your children, right? Let me show you how to automate your business so that it's on cruise control. Let me show you how to fly under the radar if you need. I can also teach you how to get Airbnb properties with no money down. Yes, no money down. See, many people don't think that they can get in business because they don't think that they have the funds. But you really don't need it. What's more important is the information. So join the workshop. I have a team of super hosts that will be right there that will help you start your listing the same day. Now that's powerful. All right, so we're giving out the information. So come to the workshop, click the link below, or DM me, and I can provide you all the information. Welcome back. Welcome back. You are listening to the King Raphael Show. I gotta tell y'all like this. If you want to join the B&B Wealth Academy, we're going to be having workshops. You're going to be receiving one-on-one training from me on how to elevate and get more wealth in this life and how to, start new revenue streams for yourself so that you can truly elevate. So remember, you can hit me up at the King Raphael Show at gmail.com. The email address is right there at the bottom of the ticker. I got to tell you this story, y'all, about this man who's about to miss his flight. So, see how much time I got left here. It's a good story. So, there was a traveler preparing and for the most important trip of his life. And this wasn't an ordinary vacation. The destination represented every single thing that he had been praying for, which was a new opportunity, a new beginning, a new level. And he arrived at the airport excited and confident, but immediately he had problems. And y'all know how flying can be. It's going to be some problems some days. The first thing he ran across, what many of us have experienced, was baggage fees. The airline weighed his luggage and the scale flashed that it was overweight. So the traveler began getting frustrated. He argued with the airline employee that this ain't fair. Like, it's just a few pounds overweight. What's the problem? Why y'all charging me so much money for an overweight bag? And the employee responded that the plane can only carry so much weight. So as he opened up his suitcase, he realized that he was carrying things that he didn't need. He was carrying old clothes. One of his things in there had broken, so he didn't need that. He had some things in there from years ago, things that had no purpose towards his journey ahead. That sound like anybody we know, right? So he began throwing things away, and suddenly the luggage met the requirement. You see, many people want a new destination while carrying old baggage. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Many of us want a new life, but we still have bitterness. Many of us want new relationships, but we still have unforgiveness from the past ones. Many of us want to do something new and bold in our life, but we still carry fear. Many people want to try new business, but they hold on to old failures. You see, the higher God takes you, the lighter you must become. And it reminds me of that song by Erica Badu, Bag Lady, right? You're going to miss your bus dragging on them bags like that. A lot of times we miss things in life dragging old baggage. And I'm here to tell you today, just release it. It's some things that we're desperately holding on to that we don't want to release because we think it's a part of us. We think it's a part of our character and our identity. But God says, no, I got something for you. Lay aside every weight. Lay it aside and trust me. Can you trust me? Right? That's what it's about. Giving it up to trust God. But many of us doubt. So this traveler, he had some trouble at the TSA. So when he reached the security, here go the scanners. Many of us have experienced that. Beep. Then the agent stopped him. Something in his bag wasn't allowed. So the traveler gets upset again. Man, I've carried this with me for years. And the TSA agent replies, it may have worked where you came from, but it can't go where you're going. You see, there's a lesson in that. Some habits can't travel into your next season. Some attitudes can't travel into your next season. Some people can't travel into your next season. You see, God isn't rejecting them. He's simply protecting your destination. Y'all caught that? Not about hating on people. Everybody is just not meant to go where you're going in this life, okay? So finally, this traveler reaches the gate. Then he finds out that the flight is delayed, and he's sitting there for 2 hours, then 4 hours, then 6 hours. He must have been flying Frontier. but frustration starts to set in. I'm speaking from personal experience, excuse me on that one. But frustration starts to set in. People around him began complaining, right? What's going on? And the traveler wonders if he should just leave. Then an announcement comes. A severe storm has developed directly over the flight path. Now, had the plane departed on time, it would have flown directly into danger. And you see, there's a lesson in that. The delay wasn't punishment. The delay was actually protection. But what we do, we get frustrated. You see, not realizing that God sees further than us. God delays things for us for our protection intentionally. While we're so eager to go, while we're so eager to move, we have to learn how to move in spirit, right? We have to learn these things. This is why God said in Isaiah, my thoughts are not your thoughts, right? Sometimes what feels like rejection is actually redirection. And then he finally gets on the plane and it takes off. And then the plane starts shaking. What is he experiencing? Turbulence. You see, eventually the flight takes off and it feels smooth, but then turbulence kicks in and it bumps and it shakes people and it drops sometimes and your stomach drops. And passengers, they can get a little nervous. They start to panic and fear starts to spread. But then the pilot's voice comes over the intercom. Remain seated. Everything is under control. Please buckle up your seatbelt. Then the traveler realized something, that the pilot isn't panicking. The crew isn't panicking. The people who understand flying, they aren't afraid. The only people who are afraid are the people who don't understand the process. Pause. There's a lesson in that. You see, turbulence doesn't mean that you're failing. All it means is that you're flying through conditions. In this life, remember I told you, expect some rough conditions. Expect some resistance against you. If you don't have any resistance, then you're still on the ground. You ain't going nowhere. If you don't have no haters in this life, you're really not doing nothing in this life, right? So expect some resistance. Expect some turbulence in your life. Consider it natural as a part of your elevation. Now, the arrival happened. Now, although it was hours later, he still landed safely. The traveler reached his destination. Then it hits him. Had there been no baggage fee, he would have been carrying unnecessary weight. Had the TSA not stopped him, he would have been carrying prohibited items. Had the delay not happened, he would have flew into the storm. Had there been no turbulence, he never would have learned to trust the pilot. Now, everything that frustrated him was actually working for him. And that's exactly how God works, y'all. Don't y'all know that everything is working for your good? If you love God, it's working on your behalf. Everything is changing in your season. And we know that Romans 8:28 says, for all things work together for those who love and trust God. All things, not some things, all things are working in your life for the good, even the things that you think are working for the bad. Even that accident that you had. Sometimes it seems bad, but sometimes it's working for your good because that insurance money helped you. Sometimes it's working for your good because now you see when you need a ride who's really in your corner, who your real friends are, the same people who you helped, who won't even waste time to help you when you're truly in need. So sometimes God reveals things through your tribulation. God reveals who you are through turbulence. You see, some of us are angry about baggage fees. Some of us are frustrated with TSA. Some of us are upset about delays in our life. Some of us are even afraid of turbulence. But one day you're going to land and you're going to realize that your destination, that the baggage fees, these things saved you, that the turbulence in your life strengthened you, that the delays protected you, and that the pilot never lost control. Because when God is your pilot, he will keep you above every obstacle in your life. You see, if you don't have any obstacles in this life, then you're probably not going anywhere. You don't want an easy destination. You want something that's real. Y'all get what I'm telling y'all? This life is not for the disheartened. This life is not for you to give up on. This life is for you to keep going. This life is for you to release every bit of emotional baggage that you have. This life is for you to go through things so that you can have a spiritual examination. The same way TSA examines your bags. Y'all get it? This life is to prepare you for this runway that you're on. That when you're taking off, that you understand the reason why you feel resistance against you. It is a natural part of life. And sometimes the most uncomfortable places are on the runway. The most uncomfortable things that you're going to experience is turbulence. The most uncomfortable things that you're going to go through is regret. This is why you're not blessed in places of comfort. You're blessed when you are taken out of your comfort. Y'all get it? We're going to take a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to continue this amazing show about, are you ready to take off, or do you just have too much baggage to lead a runway in the first place? You're listening to the King Raphael Show. Listen, dreams don't work unless you do. The reason why I started my Airbnb business is because I wanted financial freedom. I wanted to take my time back. I wanted to spend time with my family. I wanted to take my daughter on trips to create lasting memories. Now, I'm doing this to build community wealth because at the beginning of the pandemic, I've seen so many people in pain. I've watched so many family members struggle. I've seen people lose not only their jobs, but their homes. And it's because of a lack of information. Now, somewhere I read, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. Now, as a college professor over the past 10 years, I've taught well over 10,000 students. Today, it's your turn. Click the link below to get started, and I'll see you on the other side. All right, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to the King Raphael Show. We were talking about your delays and your layovers and your season of waiting. We have to understand that everything is within season. We must understand that this life is so much like a seed, y'all, that when you plant the seed, that it's in darkness, right? And you just waiting on it to germinate, but you got to give it sunlight and water, and we're the same way, right? Seasons of waiting, you aren't where you used to be, but you aren't where you're going either. But many people, they quit doing layovers. They just want to leave because they get exhausted, right? I know this life can be so exhausting. We get tired of waiting. We get tired of wondering, when are we going to be rich? But see, God is preparing your mindset first, because you cannot have a millionaire's blessing with a beggar's mindset. That is the cause of your delay, of many of our delays. But we got to understand, y'all, while we're in a layover and while we're being delayed, that the next flight is already scheduled. God has something for us. He has a destination for us. We just have to trust the flight plan, right? And they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. But you got to go through things and you got to remove your comfort. Comfort is an enemy to you. You're only growing when you're in discomfort. And that's the turbulence I keep telling you about. Because one day in this life, it's going to be a boarding call. And you need to be obedient to that boarding call. One day your group is going to get called up and you're going to get to go. And that waiting that you've been doing is going to end. One day that preparation is going to end and the gate is going to open. And that's when opportunities are going to come. That is when business is going to appear. That's when the ministry begins. That's when the relationship arrives. And that's when the questions become, will you board? You see, knowing when to move is knowing that you must live in the spirit, just like Galatians 5 verse 25 says. It says, if we live in the spirit, we are led, and let us walk by the spirit. So we must live and walk in the spirit. Then this means you must move when he moves. You must wait when he says wait, and trust that God got your destination when he says go. But you won't do this if you're not operating in the spirit. See, when the captain comes over on the intercom, if you are not faithfully listening to God, you won't hear his call. If you haven't been working on the skill of discernment, y'all, you won't even know when God says move. You will be lost in that wilderness, in that desert area, okay? Because some of us are spending years just standing at the gate, not walking in. You've already checked your luggage, you've already passed security, and you've already survived the delay. You've endured all the tribulation that you can take. You've survived everything. But because God never designed you to spend your life at the airport was a part of your preparation, the destination was a part of your purpose, and the runway was a part of your preparation. The sky is calling, and the pilot that you are serving who rides with you has never missed a destination. The God I serve will never miss. I don't know about your God, but he will never miss. So you got to ask yourself today something very serious. What baggage am I still carrying? What season of silence am I resisting? Am I truly trusting the pilot? Am I listening to the spirit? And am I allowing turbulence to strengthen my faith, or am I making it cause me a coward and live in comfort and mediocrity? Right? Am I sitting, waiting, ready at the gate when God is calling me aboard? Are you? This is why I always tell y'all elevation is the expectation. We have to be ready when God calls. Because guess what? If you're not ready, it will bypass you. And you have to wait till the next season of preparation. And then you will bloom. But you're gonna prepare in private, and God will bloom you in public, y'all. I just feel like I gotta say this over y'all. I just feel like I want to speak this over your life. God, to all the people right there who are listening right now at the sound of my voice, please help us to release every weight that has kept us grounded. Help us to trust you during the delays. Help us to remain faithful during these layovers, and help us to keep the courage when things get tumultuous and turbulence hits us. Remind us that you are the pilot that lives over every destination, that you've prepared us, and the destination is worth the wait. God, there are some people in this life that are struggling right now. They are struggling with who they are. Some people are struggling with addiction. Some people are struggling with anxiety. Some people are struggling with depression, and they don't know how to let it go. They don't know how to check those bags. But God, I'm asking you to give strength to the weak right now. I am asking you to give sight to the blind right now. I am asking you to give faith to the doubtful right now. And God, renewing us a clean heart and give us a righteous spirit, oh Lord, so that we can change this life and that we can take off, and no hater, no relationship, no envious person, no evil man can stop our destination, because we know what the devil is trying to do. In Jesus' name, I pray for strength over your life today and forever. Amen, amen, and amen. You are listening to the King Raphael Show. So remember to keep your faith stronger than your fear, and your purpose stronger than your pain. And leave no room for the devil in your house, because he doesn't belong there. So until the next time we elevate, stay blessed and stay smooth. I love y'all. Hi, I'm Professor G, the Airbnb King. When I first started my Airbnb business in 2019, I made a lot of mistakes. I really needed a mentor, but one mistake I didn't make was giving up. And since I didn't give up, 18 months later, I cleared my first six-figure income, which allowed me to quit my lucrative job as being a college professor at Spelman College and do this full time, and I never looked back. Since then, I've acquired properties in Atlanta, such as downtown, Midtown, Buckhead, even moved over to the West End. Became the Airbnb king, got more confidence, started buying properties in Miami. Ever since then, I knew skies was the limit and Monopoly was the game for me. So believe in yourself. You will and you can win at this game. Book with the Airbnb king. We're gonna make some solid moves, but loud results.